Hello, I'm Mike Rabideau with Ikelite Underwater Systems. Today we're going to take a look at the OM-1, which was formerly Olympus OM-1 camera and Ikelite housing. We're going to look at how it's assembled. We're going to start from just the housing, almost exactly the way it is out of the box. We're going to assemble the housing. We're going to install a TTL converter. We're going to hook up two DS230 strobes. We're going to install the dual tray and handles, and we're also going to install the port and zoom gear. Essentially, we're going to set up an entire system just the way you might use it underwater with dual strobes. This is the housing as it would appear out of the box. You'll note that there's not a port on this housing. Ports are determined by the lens or lenses being used. There's a port chart linked to the product webpage, or you can always send us an email at ikelite@ikelite.com, and we'd be happy to help you determine what ports are needed for your lens or lenses. First thing we're going to do is we're going to open up the housing. There are two lid snaps on each side of the housing. Each one of these lid snaps has a lock. We need to depress the lock and then lift up on the lid snap. Press the lock, lift up on the lid snap, then remove them from the hooks, and the body will come off. Next, we will need to attach the camera mount to the camera body. There's a screw in the center of the mount, and it will screw into the tripod hole of the camera. Now, we recommend that you use a screwdriver to securely fasten the mount to the camera, not just like a coin or try to do it with your fingers. We want this to be pretty secure on the camera. Any kind of movement of the camera against this mount can throw some of the controls off center a little bit. So now that we've got the mount attached to the camera, we're going to clear these control shafts out of the way so that we can easily install the camera into the housing. The camera mount slides into the camera base, and the camera will drop into the housing front. Now we're going to attach the hot shoe attachment that's needed for triggering external strobes. We're going to reposition this AF on control, and then we're going to install the back. Set the back into the front, lift up on both of the lid snaps, and push down on those both at the same time. And you'll hear that snap into place. We can then double check and make sure that they are in the locked position. Now we are going to add the zoom gear for the lens. First, we're going to remove the port cover from the camera body. We're going to set the zoom ring into the housing, and then we're going to drop the lens in through the zoom ring. We're going to align the red dot on the lens with the camera body, just like you would do if the lens was outside if you were using the camera outside the housing. Once the lens is pushed into the camera body and then rotate it, you'll hear it lock into position. Now, when we need to remove the camera from the housing, we will first remove the lens. There's a lens release control here on the side. We rotate that clockwise. It will depress the lens release button on the camera body and allow us to rotate the lens, and then we could simply pull the lens off. Now, once the lens is installed on the camera, we've got the zoom gear in place. We will now install the zoom port. We need to make sure that these small thumb screws are unscrewed so that they clear the inside lip of the port. Here's an example of one screwed all the way in. You could clearly see that the screw is protruding inside the port. That's not good. It will prevent us from being able to attach the port to the housing. So they're all unscrewed, they're all flush. We will want the zoom control, pull it out slightly, and we'll want it on the left side of the housing. All we do here is push down firmly, and you will feel it kind of pop or seat into position. And then we're going to tighten these 3 thumb screws. They don't have to be really, really tight, just snug, and it's finger tight. It's not anything, you don't need any tools, just so they're snug. Then we'll look down in through the housing, push in on the zoom gear, the zoom knob, and then check and see that the lens is zooming properly. And you can see that this one is zooming in and out easily. So the housing and the camera are now all set and they're ready to go. All right, so now we've got the camera in the housing. We're going to add an external tray and handles. I really like having a dual set of handles on any housing I use. Primarily, I like it when I'm in the water, I'm handing my system up to somebody on a dive boat, and clearly they see where to grab the system. They're not going to grab a sync cord, they're not going to grab the front of the port. They clearly see the second handle. So I really like having two handles on any system. So we're going to roll the housing over. We're going to line the dual tray and handle up. There's a shoulder washer or spacer washer and a screw. They go together and they just simply drop in through the hole, and we're going to tighten that up with a screwdriver. Then we're grabbing a second screw and washer, and those will drop into the other hole and simply screw into place. Okay, we're going to give those a good turn with the screwdriver and make sure that they're good and tight. We don't want them coming loose. They shouldn't come loose. You've got those washers in there, and they'll help lock those screws into place. Now, one thing you'll find with the dual tray and handles, if you've got average size hands, it's a little harder to reach the shutter lever. It's not quite as bad to reach the AF on control with your thumb, but it's tough to reach the shutter lever. So we've got a set of extensions that will actually move this shutter lever out. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the shutter lever because we're going to install an extension. Now, some levers have one set screw, but the newer ones we've decided to install two set screws just to make sure that that shutter lever is good and tight onto the cap. So I've removed the shutter lever. You will see that there's a cap, and then this is the shutter extension. This will fit over the cap. You can see the cap has this little hex shape. There's a hex shape hole in the bottom of the cap. It doesn't matter which direction you put this on, just anywhere that's convenient so that you can tighten the set screw. Go ahead and tighten that up. And then we're going to reattach the shutter lever. Now, this shutter lever can be attached in a variety of different angles, locations. I've seen some people who like to invert the lever and even use their thumb to activate the shutter. That's an option, whatever you prefer. I tend to generally like the more traditional setup with the lever pointing straight up and down, but it's entirely up to you. It's customizable, whatever your preference is. And now you can see that this is very easy to reach. The shutter lever is right there by my index finger. The AF on control, if I'm doing like back button focus, is right there by my thumb. Okay, so now if you want strobes added to the system, for the Olympus, it's the DL3 TTL converter, and we're going to show how that's done. Now, I've already gone through and removed the manual hot shoe from the housing. It's very easy to do. There's just a simple little button on the bottom of the hot shoe attachment. You depress it and it'll pull right out from the bulkhead. The TTL hot shoe will actually have a yellow band here at the end so that you know that it's designed for TTL. The manual hot shoe does not have a band, and if you look at the bottom, it only has one gold pin. That'll indicate that it's a manual hot shoe. So I've already installed the TTL hot shoe. So the next thing we're going to do is unscrew the bulkhead cap. Pull it off. You want to save this, set it aside, put it in your spare parts, because when you're not using the external strobes, you'll want to reinstall the bulkhead cap. If you look at the housing, you'll see that there are 3 pins and 2 receptacles. On the end of the DL3, you will see that there are 3 pins and 2 receptacles. These will line up. We'll line those up, simply push it in, and then rotate this collar down until it stops. It just has to be snug. It doesn't have to be really tight, just snug. Now, once the DL3 device is attached, we will then attach a sync cord. Today we're using a dual sync cord because we're going to attach 2 strobes. If you were using one strobe, you would just have a single sync cord. But again, today we're going to use 2 strobes, a dual sync cord. You'll notice that the DL3 TTL converter actually has the same fitting on the end as our bulkhead does. It has 2 receptacles and 3 pins. The sync cord has 3 pins and 2 receptacles. We're going to line those up, push it in place, and then simply turn the collar until it's snug. Again, this doesn't have to be really, really tight, just snug. Now we're going to attach our strobes to our housing. Today we're using a wide-angle ball arm. This is the dual ball arm. I like these better. I think it's much easier to adjust the strobes. There's a quick disconnect pin on the bottom of the arm that indexes into the housing handle. There's a silver button on the back of the handle. You depress it, and then the arm will slide in and lock into place. Go ahead and loosen these a little bit. Move that a little out of the way. And we're going to go ahead and attach the second handle to our housing. Again, the same side, same little stems mounted on the bottom of the handle or the arm. You line it up, depress the pin on the back, it'll drop into place and lock into position. Now, we've got here a pair of our DS230 strobes. This is our newest strobe, most powerful strobe we have. The strobe comes with a 1-inch ball mount on the bottom. We're going to attach the 1-inch ball mount to the end of our strobe arm. Get that wide enough for the ball to fit in there. Now, once we get this attached, we probably won't ever want to remove the strobe arms from the strobe itself. It's very convenient just to detach the strobe arms from the handle, fold all this up for travel, and leave it put together. Okay, now we're going to attach the left side strobe. Same system. We're just going to open up the clamp. We're going to install the 1-inch ball into the clamp. Tighten that up. And probably going to rotate this clamp around a little bit so it's out of the way, because we're going to need access to this bulkhead here in just a minute. Again, it's a little cumbersome to first attach the strobes to the arms, but once we get that attached, removing the strobes and transporting them can be that simple. You disconnect it from the arm, fold it over, and we could transport our strobes that way. And what we're going to do now is remove the dust cap from this dual sync cord. One thing to remember, the long ends of the sync cord always plug into the strobes. The short end of the dual sync cord either plugs directly into the housing or into your TTL converter. Occasionally people get that backwards, or they do some other combination and the system won't work properly. So removing the dust caps, we're going to plug the cord into the strobe. It's the same pin configuration that we've used with the DL3 converter, TTL converter, and with the housing bulkhead. It's the same pin and receptacle system. We're going to attach sync cord to our other strobe. Again, these collars just need to be snug. They don't need to be super tight. That O-ring is going to seal around the cord as soon as it's pushed down into the strobe. So they're just there to keep the cord from coming off. Now we've got everything set up. We're going to turn the system on and verify that everything is working properly. So first I'm going to go through and turn the housing on. Turn the camera on, rather. Got the camera on. I'm going to go through and turn each strobe to on. And then I'm going to turn the strobe to TTL. I don't know if you can see that, how clearly you can see that, but you can see the ready light has come on. It's lit, it's red. That means this strobe's ready to use. It's in TTL mode and in the on position. If I were on a night dive or needed a little extra light for focusing, we can rotate this down to on with light, and you'll see that a light will come on in the strobe. This is actually a great feature. If you're on a night dive, you can use one of the modeling lights for the strobe as your primary dive light. I've done that a lot. I think it's great. So we're going to go over and we're going to turn the other strobe on. Again, TTL position. We're going to turn it on once, and we're going to wait to see the ready light come on. That indicates these strobes are charged and ready to go. Another thing to check is the TTL converter. It has a blue LED. That indicates that the in this case, the DL3 is working. It's in TTL mode, which is the blue LED. If I wanted to change to manual mode for my strobes for some reason, that's easy to do. All you do is press the silver button once. The LED will change to red, and that indicates that you're now in manual mode. I would then change the power settings of my strobes to any one of the manual power settings that are available. But in this case, we're going to do TTL. We're going to press the button again. It's going to turn back to blue, and that indicates we're back in TTL mode. Now, lastly, I'm going to fire the strobes. I saw a double flash, but more importantly, I'm going to watch for, and we'll do this again, a green light to come on in my strobe. That green light indicates that it was a TTL or metered quenched flash. That's just another way that the system is telling you that everything's working properly. So we've got all this set up. We're ready to go. One last accessory that's really nice to have is our red cable grip. Let me grab one of those. I'll show you how it's installed, and I'll show you the nice feature of it. Okay, this is our red cable grip. It just has a little red band that runs through it, or a little cable. It's very easy to install. It's just got these little stainless steel carabiners, and they just snap into the handles. Now, this can stay on the housing if you want. It can just dangle there while you're using the housing. But the greatest thing about this is, as we're walking to the dive boat and I lift up on this, it's going to slide everything together and make this very handy, convenient, easy way to carry the housing to and from the dive boat. So this is it. This is a fully decked out OM-1 camera with that Panasonic 7 to 14 millimeter lens, dual DS230 strobes with a DL3 TTL link, TTL converter, and we would be ready to go diving and get some absolutely wonderful images. If you have any questions about this system or any others, feel free to send us an email at ikelite@ikelite.com, and you can even call us at 317-923-4523. We're always happy to help with any questions you might have about your system or how to get better images. We're all divers here, and we really enjoy helping other divers create the images they're looking for.